The part's like this. A shofar, halacha is that you can't use a shofar, you can't use a horn of a cow because it's called a keren, right? You specifically should be using the horn of a ram, an ayil, a ram, twisted. It has to be at least the length of a fist. It shouldn't be straight. It should have some kind of twist in it. For Maisa, it's a mitzvah. The Torah says you have to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. But why do we blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah? So it's brought down in many svarim that when we blow shofar, and you have to listen carefully because this is the core of tonight's shir. I never gave this shir before. That the reason we blow shofar is to be misayer, to wake up, to take Hashem from his chair of din, and to bring him, when we blow shofar, brings it to his chair of rachamim, and if not Chas, but sometimes this first day of Yom Tov comes out, Rosh Hashanah comes out on Shabbos, but it doesn't come out this year, and the Gemara says that it's a year of Peronius, it's a bad year, the year of when there's no shofar, because that means that day Hashem didn't go from din to rachamim because the shofar wasn't Messiah Shabbos. Even though it's a famous story, the B'ditch Rav said just the opposite. It's the biggest rachamim because he said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he said, look at your nation, Klal Yisrael. They have a Shabbos. They're not allowed to use the shofar, right? But the shofar is going to save their lives. So really, and it's only a d'Rabbanan. You can't carry because they're going to carry the shofar on Shabbos. We're scared they're going to carry the shofar on Shabbos. She says, look, the Jewish people for d'Rabbanan won't break a d'Rabbanan which would save their lives. It's so important that they listen to the Rabbanan that said you can't carry. They're willing to take a chance that year is going to be a bad year because they don't want to do a d'Rabbanan. So he turned it around to be a schutz for Klal Yisrael. But this year, both days don't come out on Shabbos. So the reason we blow the shofar is like this. So it says in many Kabbalistic form, and not even Kabbalistic form, it's to remind Hashem of Kedas Yitzchak. We know that the ayil got caught in its horns, in the thorns, and he used that ayil to bring us instead of his son, and therefore it's misayre l'rachmin. When you blow the shofar, it reminds Hashem of Kedas Yitzchak. Question number 1: the shofar of the ayil doesn't remind of Kedas Yitzchak. It reminds that he didn't shech Yitzchak. You want to remind Hashem of Kedas Yitzchak, someone should get up in shul with a big chalaf, a big knife on the bima, right? Or take a kid and tie him up. Akedah, the akedah is tying, right? Take a rope. But the horn of the ayil reminds Hashem that he didn't shech Yitzchak. Why would you take the horn of the ayil? That's number 1. And he didn't do anything to get the horn of the ayil. That animal, as it says in Pirkei Avos, that Ben Hashmashas, Erev Shabbos, was one of the 10 things that Kosh Baruch Hu created. Ben Hashmashas, Erev Shabbos. You all learned that Mishnah, right? Perek Hamishi, in Pirkei Avos, there were 10 things created. Piaretz, Piason, right? Being able to write, different things. So one of the things that was created was the ayil that got caught, B'svach B'karnov. You must all have the same question I had. Why did Hashem have to create it Ma'aseh Bereishis? Just have a ram on top of the mountain when he brought the Akedah. Why does it have to be 2,000 years old, however, 1,000-year-old? Why do you have to create it? Ben Hashmashas, he created, the day that he created animals, he created many rams. To create a special ram, make sure that there's a ram on the mountain. That's where they used to live anyway, on the mountain. So make sure there's a ram on the mountain. You have to create a special bria, Erev Shabbos? You already created ayils. It's a starker question. It's a big question. Why, Manishtana, why you need a special ayil? And it also says that, what do you mean it was stuck by its horns from Ma'aseh Bereishis? It's sitting there with its horns stuck in there for that long? So it's brought down that the Yetzirah, no, it wasn't stuck in it. It was on the mountain. And then when Avraham Avinu wanted to use it as a carbon, so it ran towards him, and it brings down that the Satan created this thorn that went around the horns and caught the animal, so that Avraham Avinu would not be able to bring it. What did bother the Satan? 3 bomb questions tonight. What did bother the Satan that Avraham brought the ayil? The Satan already lost. What beat the Satan was that Kedas Yitzchak. The ayil had nothing to do with the Satan. What did he care? Bring an ayil. He brought many korbanos. It was instead of Yitzchak. Would he care? What did bother the Satan for? He lost. What bothered the Satan was that Avraham Avinu was going to shech the son. That was the test. He went and he got brambles. He was like, oy vey, it seems to me he was more scared that Avraham would get this ram than that he would shech Yitzchak. Because Yitzchak, he didn't stick him in a bunch of thorns. Here he right away created these thorns to catch the ayil that Avraham Avinu wouldn't get it. So what's going on over here? Hashem had to create the ayil ben hashmashas. We blow a shofar to remind us of the Akedah when it has nothing to do with the Akedah. It was after the Akedah, and Avraham Avinu didn't do anything. Hashem created it. So it's just going to remind Hashem that He helped, that He saved Yitzchak. That doesn't help us, right? These are bomb questions. What's going on over here by this Akedah? And the biggest bomb is that everybody knows that it says that under the Kisei HaKavod, Hashem keeps the Afar Yitzchak, the ashes of Yitzchak. There are no ashes of Yitzchak. Right? So we got a couple of questions. Let's go over for the camera. Let's go over the questions again. Number one, it says there were ashes of Yitzchak when the Kisei HaKavod. Yitzchak never was turned into ashes. He was saved. Number two, why was the Yetzer Hara trying to stop the ayil? He was already beat. The Akedah happened. The ayil had nothing to do with anything. It was just another carbon. Right? So why did it bother him so much? Number three, why did Hashem have to create the ayil ben hashmashas erev Shabbos as a special creation? Why couldn't it just be an ayil that was created like a regular ayil and be put on top of the mountain? And number four, altogether, the horn of the ayil how does it work? Better question. How does it work that when we blow shofar, the horn reminds Hashem, and therefore he leaves his kisei din and goes into his kisei rachman? Good question. Very good questions. Bomb questions. So the teretz is like this. There's a story connected to this teretz, but I forgot the story. There is a story connected to this teretz. I totally forgot the story. Okay. But I'll tell you the teretz. So the teretz is like this. Godless. Avraham Avinu was told to bring Yitzchak as a carbon. Now, how did he know that Hashem was talking to him? Well, it says that when Hashem calls you twice, then you know it's not like something you dreamt up. So he said Avram, right? He called him Avram before he told him. So he knew that it was HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He was scared. He was scared that if Hashem tells you to do something, you don't do it, you're dead. You're both dead. So maybe he only did the Akedas Yitzchak Meira, right? Maybe he only did it because he was scared of Hashem. He was scared he's going to get punished. Hashem gave him a commandment and he didn't listen. We don't really know why he did it. But what happened? See, people don't know this. Until you look at the Parsha, you don't know this. If you look at Parshas Vayera, no, you did. If I have to say so myself. Listen carefully. At the end of the Akedah, he took the knife to shech the son. Right? He called him Avram. He said, I'm here. Again, so that he would know that it's coming from Hashem. That's why he called him again Avram. Otherwise, he wouldn't have stopped. He would have said, this is the Satan telling me to stop. He said, Avram. He said, don't hurt him. Ki ato yadati, because now I know ki yirei Elokim ato. Hear carefully the words. This is brilliant. I know now that you fear Hashem. In other words, you're scared that Hashem gave you a commandment to shech your son, and you don't want to break that commandment. So far, the Torah is telling us, the Malach is telling him, so far we know about you that you're scared of Hashem. Doesn't mean that you're doing this out of love. Doesn't mean you want to do this. You did it because you're scared. Avraham Avinu proved I did not do it because I was scared. I did it out of ahava. Now remember what we learned last week or 2 weeks, whenever I was here last time, So when you do tshuva, when you do something out of ava, so it takes the chayv and it turns it into schus. In other words, if you ate something not kosher, whatever it was, and you're scared you're going to get punished, you do tshuva, so it erases the avera. But if you do tshuva, right, and you do it out of love, then it turns into a schos. I heard something amazing last week. Mind a bomb. I heard a bomb last week. He said the power of tshuva me'ava. Listen to this. So, how do you explain this? Oh, she said like this. It's very deep. He said that. So on Yom HaDin, on Rosh Hashanah, I heard this last week. I don't know from where. Maybe I saw it in a sefer. No, I heard it. I don't know where I heard it. I heard it on a tape. I don't remember which tape. I was listening to like a million tapes because I'm preparing like 30,000 shiurim right now. So I'm just listening to any tape on the Yom Tov I'm listening to. She's like, but this is such godless. Listen to this. So the Yetzer Hara, what does he do? He's the prosecutor. So he comes and he tells Hashem that you did this aver, you did this aver, you did this aver. So if you're a person who does tshuva miyira, if you're a person who doesn't do any tshuva, so of course the Yetzer Hara is going to tell on you because he knows he's going to tell the aver and you're going to get punished for it. If you do tshuva miyira, so what does the Yetzer Hara has nothing to lose. Okay, I'm going to rat on him. If he didn't do tshuva, he's going to get whacked. If he did tshuva, he's going to be forgiven. He's going to be forgiven anyway. If he did tshuva, he's going to be forgiven anyway. So the Yetzer Hara has nothing to lose to bring that aver in front of Hashem. Because I'm going to bring that aver in front of Hashem. If the guy doesn't do tshuva, so I got him. If he does tshuva, okay, he's going to be forgiven anyway. But if a person does tshuva me'ahava, which means that the aver is going to turn into a schus, then the Yetzer Hara is not going to take the chance. He's going to bring 1,000 averis, but this guy does tshuva me'ava, he might do tshuva on all these things me'ava, all his averis are going to become 1,000 mitzvahs. So it's a bad gamble. The other way, I'm either going to get him, or it's going to get erased, but I'm not going to lose anything. Because he's going to get erased anyway. So the Yetzer Hara doesn't bring the averis in Rosh Hashanah. He says, this guy passed, I don't say nothing. Because he doesn't want, it's bad enough you have 10,000 mitzvahs. You also have 10,000 averis, now you're going to have 20,000 mitzvahs. So he says, I pass. I'm not saying anything. So a person who a whole year does tshuva me'ava, right? Even the averis he didn't do tshuva on, Yetzer Hara is not going to say. Because he's scared, this guy does tshuva me'ava, I want to go and make this whole report. This guy's going to do tshuva me'ava, so I'm not going to talk about his averis. I'm not talking about it. I'm not going to say one word about it. So nothing happens. It's godless. It's godless. I don't know where this person, I remember he quoted somebody big, where I was like, wow, what a mindset. So a person who does tshuva me'ava, you don't want to report your averis because they're going to turn it to mitzvahs. So he's very careful. Anyway, so you see the pasuk here, the malach saying, I see that you're scared. Now listen to what happens. I didn't know this till I prepared the share. I always thought that Hashem told Avraham Avinu to go get the isle. That's what most people have that perception that Hashem said, instead of Yitzchak, go get the isle. That's not what happened. Now, so the Malach said, I see, Kiyatu Yadati, we now know, Kirei Lekemata. No. Vayisa Avraham Ezainov, he lifted up his eyes. Hashem didn't tell him to bring a carbon, boys. He was supposed to leave, have a good day. He came up to do a mitzvah. He came up to do that Kedas Yitzchak. And the most unbelievable thing, he got the mitzvah and his son back. I'm out of here. You tested me. I passed. I did the mitzvah. I got my son back. Let's get back on that Chamor before God changes his mind. And let's go home. No, said Avraham Avinu. No, I didn't do this out of fear. I did this out of love. I'm not going home. I'm not happy now that I passed and I got my kid. That's not what I'm here for. I came to this mountain to bring a carbon to God. If it's not my son, I cannot leave this mountain until I bring a carbon to Hashem. So Vayisa Avram es Einov, Vayar Vihine Ayil Achar. What's the ayil achar? And he saw another ayil. It was only one ayil. It's not like there were two ayil. If you see another ayil, it means you saw one ayil. You didn't see one ayil. So what's this other ayil? What's the achar? V'hine ayil achar ne'echaz b'svach b'karnav. He said, I saw another carbon. I came up here to bring a carbon to Hashem. If it's not my son, I'm not going to jump up and say, Baruch Hashem, I'm Yotzeh, I'm out of here. Right? No Tachanan, Chassid, I'm Yotzeh, I'm out of here. I'll give you a little example of what I'm saying. So you're in shul, and it's Neidic, when that guy goes back, finishes the Shalom, right? And then you start saying, Elokeinu, Elokeinu, and the Chazan goes, Yiskadav, Yiskadash, and there's a chassan or something in shul and there's no tachman. Everybody's like, wow, right? So you save, on a Monday, Thursday, you save 5-8 minutes of tachman. So most of us, we're very happy. And we finish davening, we leave. But if you were Avram Avinu, like by the Akedah, you'd say, I don't understand, I came here to say tachman today. I came here to daven with Tachman. I didn't know there was a chassan. So I saved 8 minutes, so I'm not going to sit down. Say 8 minutes to home. The not Avraham Avinu is, I'm Yotzeh. I had a heter, there's nothing wrong, you did the right thing. And everybody leaves, you did the right thing. There was no Tachman, I'm 8 minutes, usually finish at 7:30, we finish at 7:22. I'm out of here. That's doing a mitzvah out of rote, out of yira, because I have to. Avraham Avinu said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm patur. Because Hashem came and said, I shouldn't shech my son. I came to bring a carbon to Hashem. So by Yisa Einav, he lifted his eyes from this whole thing. He said, this whole thing is over, but I'm not finished. The Satan said, uh-oh. The Akedah, you could say he did because Hashem commanded him to do it. So he did it out of Yira. But the other Ayil, he wasn't commanded to do. So he didn't do that out of Yira. He did that out of Ahava. He did that because he wanted to bring a carbon. The Sultan said, that I have to stop. The year I don't have to stop. That he did. But the Ahava, I got to stop this ayil. What is he doing over here? He didn't have to say Tachanon. Now he's sitting there and saying 10 minutes to heal him instead of the Tachanon. That's much tougher on the Yetzer Hara than that you daven the whole davening. So over here, when he saw that there was ayil acher, right away the Sultan said, I can't allow Avram to bring a carbon because it's a reisa. I say reisa in English. It's a proof l'chachila that from the beginning that the whole carbon that he was bringing Yitzchak wasn't out of Yira, but the whole thing was out of Ava. Said the Yetzer Hara, if Hashem's going to see that Avram did it out of Ava, it's going to take a Kodesh Baruch Hu forever. Every time you remember the story, you're not going to remember Akedas Yitzchak. Akedas Yitzchak maybe he did because he was told to do. Hashem's going to say, but he did something he wasn't told to do. And that's what takes Hashem out of Midas Hadin into Midas Harachamim. And that's why it's not a knife or rope that we take up on Rosh Hashanah, but we take up a shofar to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The shofar comes from an ayil that Avraham Avinu didn't have to bring. He brought it out of love. Out of love, it's Midas Harachamim. That's why we use a shofar from an ayil. And that's why it's not a memory of Yitzchak on the Mizbeach. It's a memory of the ram. So, the one thing, so all the questions are over, except for one. Why did Hashem have to create this? Ben Hashmashas Erev Shabbos is a special bria. I don't have the answer on that yet. I don't. My thought process is two ways. My thought process is that has a connection to tshuva. Tshuva had to be created before the world because it takes us back in time. And that this ayil had to be some kind. Well, first of all, this is a machlokes, number one, if it was a normal ayil. There are some, I don't know where it's brought down, but it's brought down that it was a special bria, one of a kind. It was a unicorn. It was a unicorn, had one horn from the middle of its head. And that's where that whole thing comes from. But I saw in a sefer where it says specifically that it had two horns, that one horn was used by the shofar that was blown by Kabbalah Satira on Har Sinai, and the second horn is going to be used by Mashiach. So according to that man, it wasn't a unicorn. It was two horns. But it does bring down that it was mamash a special bria. Because what does it say? It says karnav. Karnav means horns.
How survive the model.
Maybe it was brought into the teva. Bekarnov. See, Rashi says, "Shahayuratz etzel Avraham." The ram, the ayil ran towards Avraham. V'hasatan seifchay u'ma'arboi be'ilanais. It twisted trees all around it so it couldn't get out. So the question was, what was he so worried about? Who cared about the ayil? The ayil was just a regular carbon. What are you going crazy about the ayil? The answer is the ayil was bigger than the Akedah. The ayil was bigger than the Akedah. The Akedah, the Malach said, you were scared. The ayil showed that the Akedah wasn't because of Yira. Without the ayil, there was no proof that Abraham, he only did it because he was scared Hashem was going to punish him. But Hashem told him to do it. So the ayil was much bigger in the sense of spirituality. Because not only was it wasn't that it made the ayil itself was bigger. The ayil made the Akedah bigger. Because he went for the ayil, showed, I didn't do this because I was scared, then what do I need the Akedah for? I'm off, I got my son, God's happy, everything went well, I'm out of here. So the only question of all those questions, so that's why the Satan did it, and that's why we use an ayil, and answers all the questions. The only question it does not answer is why did it have to be created at that point? Why couldn't it be? So according to the one who holds it was a unicorn, I understand it was a special bria. But otherwise, why did it have to be, why Banish Moshe? Why wasn't it just a regular ayil? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Whoever's listening to the shir and can come up with that question, please call me and leave a message. I shouldn't do this, but anyway, 917-439-3368, 917-439-3368. I can't tell you to send me an email because that will make you go to the computer, and I don't want to do that. So just leave me a message if you have a teretz, why this ayil had to be created, specifically Ben Hashmashas. Okay.
Maybe because the act itself was extremely special, and so it had to be a special animal to be created for it, because Hashem didn't, I can't really say expected Abraham to do it,
but the action was, it wasn't on the ayil, it was on Avram. In other words, any ayil would have worked. The action was that Avram said, I'm not leaving here till I bring another carbon. And that's what the pasuk says. Vayikach es ha'ayil va'alehu lo'oila. That's what it should have said. It says tachas b'nai. Instead of his son. He took it instead of his son. That's not true. He didn't take it instead of his son. Hashem said, I don't want your son. But he took it instead of his son. He was not going to leave Har Moriah without bringing a carbon. So his son was the carbon. Now you're telling me I'm not bringing my son. I'm still going to bring a carbon. I'm not leaving without giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu a carbon. Okay. Fine. Now, let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning of Parashat Vayera.
how did he shift the ayil if one of the things ripped off?
It didn't rip off.
Did it?
No. Where does it say ripped off?
In the bush?
It doesn't say it left it off in the bush. No, I never saw that. No, Avraham Avinu took him out of the bush. Whatever koyach he used, doesn't say he ripped off. There's a very big question here. The question is like this: it was taken as an oila, right? So the question is, also I didn't see a teretz to this one. So in oila, everything is burnt. So how could it be that the two shayfros, one's for Mashiach, one's for Kabbalah's Torah, it's me'ilah? You're not allowed to take anything from a kaddish sticker animal. So how do you get the horns off? The horns have to be burnt with the animal as a korban oila. So somebody asked me this on 2 Shabbosim ago. There was a whole pilpul. Somebody gave a pilpul share. It was part of the pilpul share was they were talking about me'ilah. How it's brought down in the sefer somewhere, this kasha, and one of the achrayim. How's it possible that the horns are going to be used for Mashiach? The horns are going to be used for Mashiach. It's me'ilah. It says the korban oila. He brought it l'oila tachas b'nai. Korban oila. Everything has to be burnt. Good question. I don't know the teretz. So we have two questions. You guys have to do something the whole week. You have something to look into. Two questions. One, how were the horns taken off? It's me'ilah by a korban oila. Okay. And two, why did we have to create a brand new ayil? Now, the point that I want to bring to you is something very interesting. I believe very much that the Vayar in this pasuk in Yud Gimel, this is all Avraham Avinu. Now you have to remember that forever and ever, every Rosh Hashanah when Klal Yisrael is judged, this horn, this moment of love that Avraham Avinu showed Hashem, that I didn't bring my son because I was scared, but I brought my son out of love, that moment lives on forever. And every time we blow shofar, that moment lives on forever. And you should get a little bit of that moment every day when they blow shofar. We're on the other side now of Elul, second half, right? So when they blow shofar every single day, it should be misayri in you, that ahava. It's the most important thing, is to serve Hashem with love. And that's what that was Avraham Avinu's godless. But his godless, I still say, is the Vayisa Enav. Because before you can do anything in a relationship with God or a relationship with another human being, the first thing you need, just to go over here, it says again, it says, Vayisa Avraham es Enav Vayar V'hinei Ayil. It should just say, Vayar Avraham V'hinei Ayil. Vayar Avraham es Ayil. What's the Vayisa Enav? So the other time it says the word Vayisa Enav is in the beginning of Vayera, which is my famous Tvat Torah where I tell you, it says Vayisa Enav Vayar V'hinei Shloisha Nashim Nitzav Olav. Vayar, the second look, right? The same thing happened over here. Avraham Avinu had a second look at things, at situations, at what does Hashem want from me? What does Hashem want me to do? So in the beginning of Pasha Vayera, there was a Vayisa Einav Vayar. At the end of Pasha's Vayera, there was a Vayisa Einav Vayar. And the interesting thing is that Akedas Yitzchak, which is the second Vayisa Einav Vayar, the whole Torah of Vayisa Einav is to have the ability to look, to lift your eyes, not to worry about yourself, to look away from yourself, to look to others. That's Vayisa Einav, right? So we know in the beginning of Vayera, he was sick, he was potter from doing mitzvahs, and it says Vayisa Einav, he didn't want to worry about himself. He wanted to help somebody else. So Vayisa Einav, he lifted his eyes from his problems, and he was sick from the bris milah and all that. Vayar, you can't see someone else if you're looking down at yourself. Vayisa Einav is a very weird. What does it mean? He lifted his eyes. You lift your eyes. What does that mean? You lifted your eyes. He lifted up his eyes, which meant the expression means he took his eyes off himself. He wasn't busy with himself. So then Vayar, and then I always told you the second Vayar, right? Vayar Atzvah. He did the same thing here. He did Akedas Yitzchak. Right? He came to Shechted. The call came out of Shemayim, don't Shechted. So as far as he was concerned, for himself, he passed the test and he got his son. Right? He had his cake and he ate it. Right? He had his cake and he ate it. And he could have been happy with himself, and he should have been happy with himself, because who of us would have passed that test? And he should have left. But what happened is Vayisa Einav. He said, one second, this is not about me and my son, getting him alive and getting him home. It's not about me. It's about, I came to this mountain to bring a carbon to Hashem. If I'm going to go down this mountain with Yitzchak, I can't bring him as a carbon, then I failed.
You did bring
I didn't. What? Well, that's my pshat with that. Okay, we're going regular Pasha pshat. Not that he shechted when he went up to Gan Eden.
He said, like, it wasn't Lashon in that case, that you should bring up your son. He brought up his son. He tied him down. He brought him up. Doesn't say issue. So he was kind with Hashem anyway.
Now, because he did it with love, the ayil, when it was burnt, was considered the Afar Yitzchak. It's true Yitzchak never got burnt, but the ayil got burnt. Because Avraham Avinu, what's the Afar Yitzchak? See, it didn't make a difference at this point. Because Avraham Avinu, his love for Hashem was to bring a carbon. So it didn't matter if it was Yitzchak's ashes or the ayil's ashes. It was all Yitzchak's ashes. It didn't matter to him. He had to bring a carbon. So when they put the ayil and he burnt the ayil as an aylah, the ashes of the ayil were considered like it was Yitzchak. Why? Because he did it me'ahava. If he did it me'yira, it wouldn't have been. Because when you do something me'ahava, what does it do? This is back to my shir a few weeks ago. When you ate Cracker Jacks and then you did tshuva me'ahava, the Cracker Jacks become Reisman cakes. How does that happen? If you did tshuva me'ahava, you changed the actual thing that happened. He brought Yitzchak as a korban me'ahava. Yitzchak as a korban me'ahava. So this ayil became Yitzchak. In fact, Rav Chaim Vital says that Yitzchak's neshama went in to the aisle. And that when he shechted the aisle, he was taka shechting like he was shechting. And when he burnt the aisle, he was burning the neshama, the nukva, the female neshama. That was. There's two things. It said that it went to. So I saw Rav Chaim Vital says very fascinating. He says like this: when he wanted to shecht Yitzchak, so we learned this inside last time. So Yitzchak got very scared. His neshama went into the aisle. So now, that's why it says aisle acher. Yitzchak went into the aisle. It was another. It was Yitzchak again. He went into the aisle. So now he took the aisle and he shechted the aisle. You can't shecht the neshama. He shechted the aisle, which had the neshama, the nukva, the female neshama of Yitzchak. Where did he go from the aisle? To Rivka. And Yitzchak, we know, was hidden for 3 years. When he came, L'shuach Basada, which means took out of Gan Eden, Rivka was 3 years old because she had that neshama. So really, the aisle, when it was shechted, had the neshama of Yitzchak. Therefore, it's considered the Afar Yitzchak that's underneath the Kisei HaKavod. But that all happened, that happened because there was an aisle. But the only reason there was an aisle was because, now I know the answer. They just sent it to me from Shemayim. Now I know the answer. The Ben Hashmoshes. Because this had to be a special aisle. Because this had to be an aisle that was going to be Makabal, the Neshama of Yitzchak. Not a regular aisle could be Makabal, the Neshama of Yitzchak. So this had to be an aisle. We know at that time, Ben Hashmoshes, that's when the Mazikim were created, that's when the Shadim were created, that's when a lot of stuff was created. This aisle, according to that Pshat of Rav Chaim Vital, had to carry, till it was brought up as a carbon, had to carry Yitzchak's neshama. So this was a special aisle. That it's afar, so it must have been like more of a spiritual animal, I'm not sure exactly, but its afar went to the Kisei HaKavod. That's not stam an aisle that's running in the woods eating grass. So maybe that's why this aisle had to be created, Ben Hashmoshes, and it's also, if Avram Avinu would not have looked for it, it wouldn't have been there. I don't know how to explain that to you. In other words, that aisle was created. The things that are in that Mishnah, most of the things in that Mishnah, Pia Be'er, where Korach got swallowed up, Pia Asain, the mouth of the donkey that spoke, most of those things were a one-time situation, never to happen again. The rainbow, they're one-time things. This aisle could not have happened. If Avram Avinu would not have looked for it, it wouldn't have been needed. So it could be that it was created, but it wasn't seen until Avram Avinu looked for it. I know I'm stepping out here a little bit. I got to look into the Medrash, but listen to what I'm saying. It wasn't there. It wasn't there before. It says in the pasuk, right? Vayisa Avram es Einav. Listen to the lashon. Vayar. Then it uses a very strange word. V'hine. Hine means something that appeared, that happened. Behold. Ayol achanechaz. There's another ayol that's caught in it. What's the hine? Vayisa Avram es Einav. Vayar ayol achanechaz. What's the hine? The aisle only appeared after Vayisa Einav Vayar. Only after he looked for it. Had he not looked for it, maybe it wasn't in this dimension. It was in between dimensions. And until he looked for it, it wasn't there. That's the word Vihine. And behold, it doesn't say Vihine before. It says first, Vayisa Avram es Einav Vayar. Vihine, and behold, aisle. That's an extra word. Vihine is absolutely an extra word here. So maybe this was created Ben Hashmoshes. Ben Hashmoshes, all the other things that were created Ben Hashmoshes are shtickle in this world, shtickle in that world. That's how they are, right? Like the Mazikim and that. And if Avram Avinu wouldn't have looked for it, it would have never been seen. It just wouldn't have been there. But because he looked for it, that's why it became there. I was just telling, I was speaking to a girls' camp this summer, and I saw somewhere, I have to write down, I never have time to write down where I see things. I saw something fascinating. I heard this once in a shir. Could be Rav Shimshon said it. was a very fascinating thought. That everything is in this world already. Our Nava was in this world already. Ateres Nava, Benochai, everything that I do was already here. This Chabura was in this world already. But it didn't have to be me as the Rebbe of this Chabura or me as the head of our Nava. Everything is here. You have to grab it. In other words, because Shlomo HaMelech, it's brought down from Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech says there's no Davar Chadash Tachat HaShemesh. There's nothing new underneath the sun. What do you mean? Our Nava is new. Ateres Nava is new. Or Yitzchak's 10 years old is new. A lot of yeshivas next year are opening up are new. How can you make a statement, Shlomo HaMelech, that there's nothing new? The answer is no. Everything is here. Each person has the ability to pluck it, to take it. It's all here. Hashem prepared a world that has everything. There's nothing new here. There's nothing new. It's up to you what you want. You want movies? You want movies. You want to open a yeshiva? You have a yeshiva. It's all here. You just have to take it. It's a famous saying. The man doesn't make the journey makes the man. The man does not make the journey makes the man. So, it's all here. You have to grab it. The bull by the horns. To be a Gadol Hadar, it's here. Anybody can be the Gadol Hadar. If you grab it, you'll be the Gadol Hadar. If he grabs it, he'll be. The only thing you can't grab is Kahuna. Because you're a Kohen or you're not a Kohen. But everything else is here. It's all here. All the ideas, everything is in this world. You just have to put up the antenna and chop it. All the stations. There's a million stations. There's Rosh Hashivas in this room. You can be Rosh Hashiva. You can be a millionaire. You can be a bum. You could be a creator of a new way of learning. You could create Art Scroll. You think Art Scroll, Rabbi Zlotowitz created, didn't create it. Art Scroll was rolling, was all over the place. You could have gotten it, you could have gotten it, you could have gotten it. He grabbed it! He gave his life for it. He grabbed it. He got it. Rav Shimshon talks about this. Everything's here. Ein davar chadash tachat hashemesh. There's nothing new under the shemesh. Your shidduch is here. You could lose it. It says beferish on Tisha B'Av you have to get engaged because you can lose it. What do you mean I can lose it? The answer is it's here. If you don't grab it, somebody else will grab it. Yes, Ornava was meant for me, but if I didn't grab it, there'd be an Ornava. Don't think because Rabbi Wallerstien, if I didn't take it, someone else would have taken it. There'd be a Rabbi Weingarten, a Rabbi Schwartzberg. They'll be rerunning Ornava today. There's nothing to talk about. It was here. I happen to have grabbed it. Baruch Hashem, I grabbed it. I was smart enough to grab it. Baruch Hashem, I grabbed it. But it was up for the grabbing. Oh, a shidduch is there. You don't take it? Somebody else will take it. What do you mean? It's my shidduch. That's right. There's a lot of things that are yours. If you don't grab it, somebody else will grab it. You come to Shemayim and you're like, you were supposed to be the Gadol Hadar. It was right in front of you. You turned around and walked away. Decided to go to a movie. Or to go buy a book or whatever it is. Everything is here. This aisle was Ben Hashmashas. The things that were created Ben Hashmashas and Shadim, they don't have bodies, they do have bodies, they're spirit, they're half this, they're half that. This aisle was born at the same time all this half stuff was being created. All these things for one time. So maybe the Vehine was to teach us it was always there from the beginning of creation. But when he came with Yitzchak, he for sure didn't see it. Doesn't say anything about an aisle. When Hashem said, don't do it, and then he said, but you say, no, but I want to do it. I need to do it. What a share. If you ingest this. I want to do it. I'm not looking at myself. I'm looking around to do it. So Hashem said, it's all here. The aisle is here from the beginning of the world. You don't look for it, you're going to go down the mountain. You'll never see it. If you look for it, it's sort of, I'm recreating it just for you because you looked for it. But you say enough. If you want it, it's what Steinman told me. If you want it, you may not get it. If you need it, you'll get it. Because then you're looking for it. If you're looking for it, you'll find it. I spoke this past week at a singles, I was away for a singles Shabbaton. And I got up, and it was these were older singles. 30s, 40s, and for me to get up, and make an announcement, but they were mostly older people, to get up and say, listen, all of you, right? And that's what I pray, all of you, there were 240 people there. Single. So I said, For me to get up and say, listen, all of you, if you really needed to get married, you'd be married, I'm dead man. I mean, you don't go to a singles weekend and get up and say, none of you really need it, you just want it, that's why you're not getting married. Well, I said it. I got up and I said it. Yeah, I said it. I said, I got to tell you something. I said, no, I said, this is what Steinman told me. I told him the whole story with me, with my building and everything. And I said, at the end of the day, first year I said I want it. He said, who says Hashem wants it? The next year I came back and said I need it. He said, you got it. And Baruch Hashem, it's full. 20 girls in there. We started today. It's full. If you need something. So I got up there and I said, listen, I'm not telling anyone here that you don't need it or you don't want it. But Lamaisa, if you need it, it's going to be there. Avram Avinu needed to bring another carbon. Vayisa Eina Vayar Vehine. It's there. Just like, if you go back, it's so beautiful because it makes so much sense. If you go back to the beginning of the parsha, Vayera, what does the pasuk say? Vayisa Eina Vayar Vehine Shleisha Nasha. Why doesn't it say Vayisa Einav Vayash Shleisha Nashim Nitzavim Alav? What's the Hine? Here we know that they were created because he wanted them. We know the story. We know they were malachim, they were angels, they were non-existent. They were only created by Hashem to come down to him as Arabs because he wanted it. So what we're learning over here is that Vayisa Einav, if you look away from yourself, Vayar, and you're looking for something. You want to learn, you want to be a Talmid Chacham, you want to do tshuva, you want to change, you want to get married, you want to do the right thing. Then the word comes V'hinei, and it will happen. And behold, it will happen. Even if it's not here, Hashem will create it for you. So the beginning of this parsha, the second pasuk of this parsha, and the end of this parsha, the beginning of Chesed, and the end of the greatest thing that saves us every Rosh Hashanah, where Hashem looks under his throne at the afar, not of Yitzhak. What happens, everybody? If every Rosh Hashanah, if there was no aisle, if Avram did it out of Yira, there would be no afar. There'd be no ashes, because there'd be no aisle. If he would have just gone down, he would have walked out after Tachanun, we didn't say Tachanun, and he would have left Shul, it wouldn't have happened. Because there would have been no afar. Hashem would have looked down on his kid and said, come, there'd be nothing there. Be Avram Avinu, thank you Hashem, I did my job, my kid's safe, have a good day. There'd be no afar. That's what the Satan was worried about. That's the Koyach HaShofar. And that's why we blow the shofar. And that's what he was worried about. And that's why we blow the shofar by Torah. And that's why we blow the shofar by Mashiach. Because the shofar is a siman of going the extra mile, of looking. And the truth is, when you love somebody, you don't want to be pater. You know, when they say, like, get me a drink. Right? You love your wife and she says, could you get me a drink? Forget it, it's too hard. So the guy that doesn't really love his wife is like, okay, great. Great, I've got to go get the drink. Right? But the one who really loves is going to push and say, come on, don't worry about me. You really want a drink? No, I don't. You really want a drink? Forget it. Okay, forget it, don't worry. And he gets a drink, he gives it to her. That's the difference between Ava and Yira. Yira is, you tell me to do something, then if you let me get away with not doing it, and you say it's okay, great! Person who has Ava is like, no, I came here to get you a drink. I am getting you a drink. You're saying it's going to be too much for me, and you don't want to bother me. Don't worry about it. I came to get a drink. Avram Avinu came to bring a carbon to Hashem. And he ain't leaving that place until he brings one. And therefore, he is looking for one. Hashem says, that's how you feel about me? I'll create one. And he created it. He's showing his love on the other side. He's showing his love for Avram Avinu. And he waited and he made a special present. If it would have just been another aisle, so it's not a special present from Hashem to him. Hashem said, if you're going to look to bring me another carbon, I am going to create a special aisle for this moment. For this special moment, I am going to create Bein Hashmoshes Erev Shabbos, something that when you're going to turn around to look, it's going to be made by me specifically for that moment. So as much as Avram Avinu showed his ahava to Hashem, Hashem on the other hand said, I'm not just giving you this regular aisle. I'm going to create an aisle that when you look to give me something, I'm going to create a special thing just for that moment. That was the crazy relationship between God and Avram Avinu, and that's what we want to remind Hashem on Rosh Hashanah. The schus of Avram Avinu, the schus of Yitzchak and Yaakov, the schus of Avram Avinu, we're asking Hashem, get out of your Midas Hadin. Midas Hadin is based on fear, on Yira. Midas Harachamim is based on Ahava. We're saying, Kosh Baruch Hu, Shaifa. Shaifa is not Din. Shaifa is not Akedah. Shaifa is not Kiyore Elokim Ata, that we see that you fear God. Shaifa is Ahava. Ahava is Rachamim. You created an aisle just for that moment of Ahava. Kosh Baruch Hu, you have to treat us with Ahava. That's what the Yetzer Hara was scared of. And that's why he did whatever he could to make sure that that aisle was not going to get onto that Mizbeach. And that's why Rashi says, he didn't tangle Yitzchak up. He never tangled Yitzchak up. He tangled the aisle. The aisle was much worse for the Yetzer Hara than Yitzchak. Yitzchak was Yira.
He spent 3 days messing up with Yitzchak Avinu.
He tried to talk him out of it. But Yitzchak was Yira. The aisle, he mamish tied him up. Because the aisle was much worse. The aisle was Ahava. And that's the koyach of the shofar. So when you don't have that on the first day, you don't have that. Okay, now we can understand. What does the Gemara say? So you don't have the first day, so you blow the shofar the second day. You don't have that moment of Ava from the Akedah on the first day. It's a huge void. And therefore we're scared the whole year. Baruch Hashem, this year we have amazing simanim. Tisha B'Av coming out on Shabbos is an amazing siman that on the worst day of the year, Klal Yisrael was singing and drinking wine and eating. It's a huge thing. And that Rosh Hashanah Mitzvah Hashem this year has 2 days. 2 days of blowing shofar is a huge thing. And that Chanukah this year, which is unusual, has 2 Shabbosim. The first day of Chanukah Shabbos and the last day of Chanukah Shabbos. Which is one of the 3 things that the Yevanim wanted to rip out of us. Or Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, and Milah. This year we have 2 Shabbosim. Simanim are there. So we need to look into ourselves. We have 15 days left. We need to look into ourselves. We need to do some tshuva me'aba, because we do tshuva me'aba, we do tshuva out of love. Yetzer Hara is not going to bring you Averis. He's like, oh my God, if I bring him 10,000 Averis, this guy's going to do tshuva me'aba, he's going to have 10,000 mitzvahs. Just we'll leave everything in the box. We're not going to talk about it this year. We'll leave him alone. It's an amazing story. So, it's very deep. I never gave this share before. It's the first time. It's very deep. How the beginning of the parasha, there's a vihine and there's a vihine. It's very big. Okay. So, I want to end with a story. I spoke today in a school for teachers. And can you give me that sitter for a second? The responsibility of teachers to their students, because school's starting tomorrow. So it was an hour speech. I'm not going to get into the whole speech. I wish I would have taped it and sent it around America. It was V'liyai Hara. But I want to tell you something that I said. And I want to tell you an amazing story that I heard. So in Perek Revi, Mishnah Tezvav, it says the following. Rabbi Wallerstien ben Shemua Omer. Rabbi Wallerstien ben Shemua says, Yihi chavoi talmidcha, the honor of your student should be chaviv alecha, as precious to you, upon you, keshalach, like yours. So the literal translation of this means that what you don't want done to you, right, you don't want to be embarrassed in front of anyone else, so don't embarrass any kids in front of yourself. You want to be given honor and respect, so make sure you give the kids respect. That's what it means. It doesn't say if the kid's good, give him respect. It doesn't say if the kid's an Aleph student, give him respect. It gives no excuses for not giving your Talmud, your student, respect. It says automatically, if he's your Talmud, you must give him the respect that you want to give yourself. But you could also translate, which is something I always tell teachers, that the covet of your student should be kishalach, like yours, like your children. Treat your students the way that you would want someone to treat your own children. Then it's a whole different class, because you're not throwing your kid out of school. If it's your kid, you're giving him another chance, giving him a therapist. If he's not doing well, you're giving him tutors, and you're surely not throwing him out of school and putting him on the street. If he's messing everybody else up, you'll find another school out of town. you're not just throwing them out. So it's a very big responsibility, but after 120 years, every Rebbe, every Mora goes in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks him, did you treat my children like they were yours? Rabbi Gamliel said that the answer is no, they're going to put you in the lowest part of hell. You'll never get out. In the Tahaim of Ganem. So the answer is yes, they put you in the highest place in Gan Eden. So it's very tricky being a teacher. The loss is humongous. The reward is crazy. You have to be pretty crazy to take the chance. You do business, be honest, and you're fine. Over here, every single kid you messed up, you're going to pay for. Every single kid. That's pretty tough. I'm worried. But until I heard this, I was already teaching 10 years. Right? So by the time I heard this and realized, right? I hope that Hashem will send me all the kids that maybe I hurt their feelings. I'll meet them somewhere and I'll be able to, to ask them forgiveness. But it's a very big responsibility to be a teacher. I want to tell you a story with Rav Hutner. So, this Rebbe came to Rav Hutner, no ridiculous story. And he said to Rav Hutner, I have two boys, I have two students. One's at Elul, one's brilliant. He's going to be one of the top Gedolim. The other one, he's not so smart. He's not Elul, but he's unbelievable with other kids. Everybody loves him. Everybody wants to learn with him. But regular head. He's not going to be no Gadol Hadar. He's a regular head. He asked Rav Hutner, who should I give more of my kaiches to? Who should I focus on more? The ones who are going to become the Gadol Hadar, or the ones who are going to become a Rebbe? Right? So this is what Rav Hutner said. This is so scary. Rav Hutner said as follows. I didn't know this halacha. He said, to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Puruvu, you have to have a son and a daughter, but they have to have children too. He brought down a raya that if a person has a child that can't have children, he's not Mekayim of Puruvu. So even though you had a daughter and you had a son, but they both never get married, never have children, you were not Mekayim the mitzvah. It has to go 2 generations. That's the halacha. So Rav Hutner said, a Rebbe, right, is daimel what? To a father. A Talmud is daimel ben. Right? I always said it's the greatest thing. Students are like your son, but you don't have to give them the car. It's geschmack, right? They're like your son you got to give the car, and then you don't have to give the car, right? So a student is like your child. But you're not Yaitza as a Rebbe unless the student has a student. Just like in the physical world, the parent has to have 2 generations of children to be Yaitza. When the Torah tells us that a student is considered like your child, he's not your physical child. He's not your physical child, right? If you're a man and you're a Rebbe of a girl, you can marry her. It's not a child. It's not considered a child, right? It's a spiritual child. So Rav Hutner said, you want to be Yaitz as a Rebbe, you have to have a 2nd generation. Your Talmud has to have Talmidim. He says, therefore, the Eloi, there's going to be a Gadol, is very nice. But if you want to be Yaitz as a Rebbe, you have to give the time to the kid who's very good with other kids, who you think is going to become Rebbe. Baruch Hashem, I have 2 Talmidim that are Rabbeim, that I know of. So there I was Yaitza, and I have a Talmidah, that's an amazing Mora. So I think I'm Yaitza that I don't know if I'm Yaitza in the physical world, because they only have girls, but some people hold that if you have grandsons and granddaughters, it's good. Baruch Hashem, I have that. But in the spiritual world, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. So, I was telling these teachers today that you see from Rav Hutner that he looked at a student as mamish a child. And that you have a mitzvah in a student, where you teach a student like a mitzvah puruvu, that he has to have students. And if he doesn't have students, you're not Yaitza. The Rebbe teaches a boy, and the boy goes off the derech, and he never has any students, he never teaches any Torah. You're not Yaitz as a Rebbe. You're not a Rebbe. Not Yaitz as a Rebbe. It's a very tall...
Children, it's like also.
What?
Teach your own children Torah.
Well, I once said, I was very, very young. I have to say, I said something when I was very, very young. Probably the only compliment I ever got growing up from as a young kid from a Rebbe, because I was a troublemaker. There's a Mishnah. I'll never forget it. And my father Shalom heard it, and he said it over to his Rav, and his Rav was very happy. There's a Mishnah like this. The Mishnah says that Avedas Aviv, Avedas Rabbi, if your father loses something, and your Rebbe loses something, whose Aveda do you need to, and you can only save one. Whose do you have to save? The Mishnah says, your Rebbe. If your father is dying and your Rebbe is dying, they're both captured. And you can only save one, so you have to save your Rebbe. Now, we were learning this Gemara, and some of the kids in class said, Rebbe, how do they expect you to keep this? You have a Rebbe for a year, right? He taught you. You liked him, you didn't like him. And you have a father that you love. And they both get captured. And they're like, and the Goyim say, you could save one. Who's saving their Rebbe? Come on. You're saving your father. He says, how could the Gemara give a kid, this was asked my Rebbe, not as a kid, I was older Rebbe. How could you ask a kid, a child, how could the Gemara ask a child, a halacha, to do something that's impossible to do? Bottom line, my Rebbe and my father can be saved, or my Rebbe, I'm saving my father, or my mother, not saving my Rebbe, right? Anyone. So they asked the Rebbe, how could it be? Did the Gemara give you something that you're not going to keep? So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, it's a Mishnah. The Mishnah is trying to talk to all of us. The Mishnah is saying that better never happen. If you, the father, is his Rebbe, then you're both the Rebbe and the father, then for sure he has to save you first. So the Mishnah is giving us Musar. And the Mishnah is telling us, listen, if you're a father, you should know, and you don't teach your son Torah, then there's a man out there that your son is more responsible to than you. So you better teach him Torah. So I said, it's not a din, it is a din, but that's not why the Mishnah is telling us. The Mishnah is talking to the father, not to the kid. Taka, for the kid, it's impossible. And the Mishnah is telling the father, you have to be a Rebbe. And like my Rebbe went crazy. He was like, wow, a Wallerstien? Wow. That's true. Every person...
Which is the basis for all Torah subsequently, so this becomes Rabbi Midik, I think I also learned once.
Aleph base spells of.
No, because Aleph base is the Aleph base, and that is the building block to be when by the Torah.
Who said the father taught him Aleph base?
So that's why most people, the parents, teach Aleph base.
Really? Most people really? As far as I know, most people in kindergarten, they learn Aleph base in school. Their parents don't teach them Aleph base. Their parents, you have a different generation. You're a different generation. Not today. Today the Rebbe teaches them Aleph base. The parents teach them how to push send on the cell phone. Push send. That's what they teach. They don't teach them on Aleph base. But anyway, it's a very important lesson. Listen, everybody here, Mr. Hashem, you'll have children. It's a very important lesson that your child should never be in a position where he says, my father or my Rebbe. Never. Okay, so teach him a buzzing. Teach him a buzzing.
That's why it's Aleph base.
But that, you see, now what you just said, nothing personally, keep the camera on me, not on him, so nobody knows who said it. What you just said is exactly the opposite of my whole shit tonight. Why? Because you will be Yaitza. So that I'm called Rebbe, I'll just teach him one word. That's the Yira. That's the Avram. That's not the Avram. That's the guy who Tachanun, and he's happy that he has the 10 minutes. You have to look at it as, oh my goodness, I need to teach him Kol Torah Kula. Yeah, I want to be Yaitza. I want to make sure that my kids don't have this problem. So the minute I teach him, here, listen kid, I don't want to have this problem. Moda'ani, say Moda'ani. Okay, Yaitza, now he has to save me. No, that's being Yaitza. The Satan's not worried about that. No, I'm not giving you more. I'm saying that's the din. We don't want the din. The din was he had to bring it, and he got away with that, Keda. He was free. You didn't have to do it. Fine, have a good day. No, it's the opposite. The chassan walks into shul, taka is no tachana, right? Take those 10 minutes and use it for something else. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that you come to daven me'ava. But you're not coming to daven, for the other. I went to a shul, I didn't know. I'm not trying to sing praises myself. I went to a shul, I didn't know. They daven yeshivish, whatever it is, and they daven a short Shemona Esrei. Now, you can't know that when you start davening, because, by mincha, right. So by mincha, some yeshivas, because in Europe they didn't, now they shouldn't have it at all, but so in Europe, so what they do is called the Hecha Kedusha, where they say Ashrei, and they say Kat. And then the Chazan says the first three, and Kedusha, and then they don't go over Atachainen and all the other. So I walked in, and I was late. I had somewhere to go. And I walk into this minyan, and it's yeshiva, it's a koil, Ashkenaz. No, that's how they daven. Ashkenaz koil, like Mir Yeshiva daven, is that, does Mir daven that anymore? I don't know if Mir daven is Shlosh Shmones anymore. Certain places do, maybe Chaim Berlin, whatever. It's yeshiva, what they do, I think. For sure does. Right. So anyway, it's not a short Shmones because Yeshiva davens for 40 minutes. So in the end, it's not a short, you're not saving any time, but whatever. But it's a short, right? So I walked in and I was in a rush. And Ashrei, and the guy next to me says, don't start Shmones because I'm going to go back. Start Shmones, but he points to the chaz, and I'm like, oh, short Shmones. And I'm thinking to myself, you're here, you're in the minyan, halachically you're okay, but I'm going to miss 17 Omains or 15 Omains. 15 Omains in the next world? Do you know what 15 Omains are? But Lamais, I'm here. I'm like, I can't daven like this. I have to have Chazos shots. And I walked out. And I went, and I had to find another minyan, and I didn't start yet. Whatever, it was Lebedik. But in the end, I showed HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I don't come to daven to be Yitzah. I come to daven because I want to say 18 Omains. And if there are only 3 Omains, I'm not, even though you Yitzah, I'm not talking against them. I'm just, the cycle, I'm coming to daven. I'm coming to bring a carbon on Har Maria. And if you, Hashem, tell me that you don't want this carbon, I'm not leaving here until I bring a carbon. I'm coming to the shir. This is what I always say about my shir. That, people want to know if I'm giving the shir. And I'm like, no, it's wrong. Tuesday night, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, every Tuesday night, I set aside for you, Hashem, I am going to learn. It doesn't make a difference who's sitting here. So if you walk in here, and it's Rabbi YY or Rabbi Lam, or whoever it is, and you turn around and walk out, you're telling Hashem, I come to learn because I like Wallerstien. Not because I want to learn. Not because I want to separate an hour of my life for you, Hashem. Because I'm going to go home now and watch TV. Or I'm going to go outside and smoke. I'm going to hang out. So you're showing Hashem, he's into entertaining. I like the way he speaks. Not, I take an hour every Tuesday night, and no matter who's going to be in this room, and if nobody shows up, right? Because deep down we're all the same. And like, at 10:20, if there's nobody here, you're like, oh, I guess nobody's coming. And you feel a little good. I did mine. I did my ishtadlus. Machshava, they're going to give me the credit in the next world. I came for an hour. And Lamaisa, I got away with it. Because there ain't nobody here. That's what Avraham Avinu could have done. But Vayisa Einav. The Hine, because he said, no, I came to bring a carbon. This is not a carbon? I'm going to find a carbon. That's the whole Akedas Yitzchak. That's the whole Rosh Hashanah. That's the whole koyach of getting Hashem to walk out of his Midas Hadin and walk into his Midas Harachamim. To show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you're doing it for love. Doesn't matter who is sitting in this chair. It has nothing to do with it. Tuesday night, it's me and you, God. Wallerstien's there, this guy's there, this guy. Nobody's there. So then I'm going to go into the next room. I'm going to open a Gemara. I'm going to have a Sedra. Whatever I need to do. That hour is Kadosh Kedashim. And if Wallerstien don't show up and nobody else shows up, then I'm going to show you that hour is me and you, Hashem. We're together. We're dating. Wallerstien's there. This guy's there. It doesn't make a difference. But if you run out of here, right, and you're like, phew, I'm Yitzah. You go home. You tell your wife, there was nobody there. I did what I was supposed to, right? Wrong. From 10 to 11, you're supposed to learn. Then you should have been in the next room. You should have been learning. That means you're doing it me'ava. Otherwise, the Malach says, Kira Elokim, yeah, you Yitzah. Have a good day. He didn't fall for that Kira Elokim. He said, and you know what? I don't know who that Malach was. I don't know who that Malach was that said Kira Elokim. I didn't look it up. He said, no. No, Mr. Malach. No, you got me out of it. I'm a Yari Elokim. I'm not a Yisa Einov. That's not good enough. That's not good enough that I'm Yitzah because I had the Machshava. You had the Machshava. I need to do it. So I'm going to find another. Ayah Hashem said, you're looking to find something for me? I already created it, Ben Hashmashas. You're looking for it? Vihine. Behold, it's here. Anyone in this room that's looking to do tshuva, looking for shidduch, looking to get close to Hashem, you really looking for it? It's already created. You just don't see it. But if you're looking for it, vihine, you'll see it. You'll see it right in front of your face. B'ezrat Hashem, everybody should have that tzchus.